kleines Häschen war auf der Arbeit und das könnte.
I think it's important the role of the husband in this whole process, and even though I didn't really see myself as an important part of it, I kind of felt like I could support you, and any little bit of support that I can give you would help you have a good experience.
I was in my own universe, and it was just this microcosm where it was just me, my body, and the baby, and what has to happen there. And it really felt like it encapsulates everything at the same time, and that nothing else really mattered around me.
I felt like the true midwife, because I knew the midwife wasn't ready for you to experience what you did.
Focusing on myself and focusing on my body, focusing on my connection with the baby. And like that spiritual connection and that bodily connection, because it was really bodily for me, and just kind of shutting out everything that was around me. And just trusting that I'd be doing the right thing, and trusting that the baby's going to do the right thing, instead of just, waiting for, should I push? Which I actually did ask in the first one. But then I realized that your body's going to tell you anyways. Like, your body tells you what to do at the right time.
And that was my part of trusting and having faith in all the information that we've been given, and supporting you with that morally, just by being there and by holding your hand.
And if I focused on myself and like our little massive world, it was a lot smoother, and it wasn't at all what I told birth would be like. It wasn't this pain, it wasn't something coming over me. It was something that I was going through and that I could navigate with the baby.
So for me to be there and just see how you're giving birth and how you're feeling during that experience was quite amazing. And I mean, especially in the second birth, when the midwife didn't show up, I saw and I knew that you had no problem giving birth. And the first time I was completely relaxed that you would be able to give birth even though the midwife wasn't there. And and then you suddenly said, the baby's coming out, and I'm like, okay, the baby's coming out, what do I do now? So I took the head of the baby of Kyla, and I just received her and playing midwife, even though I had no clue what I was doing, because you were doing all the work. And that was quite an experience for me. I think 5 minutes later, the midwife showed up in front of the door, and you're already with the baby in your arms. I
was thinking that birth is, for me, very spiritual, at the same time very bodily, which seems like two opposites, but it works together. And it's also so intricate. We're so incredibly intricately designed, and birth is so intricate, and at the same time it's so simple. And if we can get that whole balance, I think that's where natural birth can be painless. For some women it's orgasmic, but essentially that natural birth is natural, and it's what we were built to do, or at least our bodies were built to do.
The baby is a conscious being, so we did everything we could in the time during those 9 months to prepare the baby as well, and to give it the best environment that we could by just starting to establish that connection.
We're being compartmentalized in all these subjects, as if we don't already have that in our heart, as if we don't already have that without being told. And that's something that Indigenous societies have at their core, that what's right if you're connected, period. And what our Western societies do is say, well, you need to learn medicine to understand the medical part of it, or you need to study psychology to understand the psychological part of it, instead of saying, actually, you already have a nugget of truth inside of you. We're constantly being compartmentalized and separated, and in that sense, we're being separated from our indigenous knowledge.
I was part of the team also. Me and you, we had a connection. You and the baby, you had a connection. And as long as we maintained that connection, I think things were going smooth. And as you mentioned before, when you started interrupting that connection because of some outside impulse or influence, then it started becoming harder. So it was my role also to make sure that you have that space, and I could basically just fight off all these distractors, people saying things that you didn't need to hear at this time. So basically I was, in a way, a protector and a guardian during that process, and holding that space and keeping you safe.
I could just trust in that process and then let go, but also control it, also ride it. Like, I was the protagonist as well. The baby was the protagonist as well. This was not something that was happening to us. It was something, our story that we were in, and the story that we were writing as well.